Hey, what's up, people? I found an interesting article in the Independent. No, for once, they're not offering us some fascist-like statements, but instead, they've offered me a very interesting little article, a little story that I think may interest everyone. This kind of reminds me of social justice warriors, but this is nothing really to do with them. It's actually to do with politics within Britain's opposition party, the Labour Party. They are basically the Democrats of the United Kingdom, and they are the traditional left-wing party. They have socialist background, though they shed that skin in the 90s. So now they're pretty much almost like the Tories, who are the Republicans of the United Kingdom. And this story is about one of their supporters, a famous supporter for Britain. He's not well known all around the world, and he's called Mark Steele. And he's not alone. There's been 1,200 odd people, and he's been barred from registering. Now let's read the article, and we'll discover more about it. And the title is Labour Leadership Contest. Mark Steele becomes latest left-winger to be barred from voting. So just like how Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton are battling it out, shall we say, for the leadership of the Democratic Party, we are also in the UK having a leadership battle in our major left-wing party, or at least on paper it should be left-wing. And the tactics that the right-wing portion of the party has been playing has been, shall we say, very Orwellian. Comedian and writer Mark Steele has become the latest prominent left-winger to be barred from voting in the Labour leadership election. Steele, who has volunteered to knock on doors for the party in the past, said he was fuming at the rejection, which he was told was because he does not support their values. Now you see, Mark Steele is old school Labour, socialist, all about nationalisation, etc. He's a very old school style supporter. He's on the left side of the party, and to say that he doesn't support their values, Labour always go on about Labour values, which is supposed to be for the working man, redistribution of wealth, when really they haven't been all about that for nearly 20 years now. And the reason why he's not been allowed to vote or to even register as a Labour supporter will soon become apparent once you know who the candidates are. And I'll tell you the candidates are once we get to the first one, as his name is mentioned. The comic, who is also an independent columnist, questioned whether it was right for Tony Blair being the old Prime Minister from 1997 to 2005. Everyone remembers Tony Blair, in the greatest gay love story that ever could be possibly written with George W. Bush, to be allowed to vote given he had invaded Iraq for a completely bogus reason. And that's true, he did invade Iraq for a completely bogus reason. So if he's allowed to vote, and he's technically a war criminal, how come Mark Steele can't? Just because he's from the left-wing portion of the party, and he's a comedian and the right and outspoken about these views, whilst Tony Blair is pretty much a Tory, yet he is allowed to vote. And speaking of Tories, we'll be getting to that in a minute. Let's carry on. More than 1,200 people, including film director Ken Loach, one of our best directors of all time, by the way, who previously left Labour and joined the Left Unity Party, have been prevented from registering as Labour supporters so they can vote for the next leader. Jeremy Corbyn, the left-wing candidate who is MP for Islington North, which is in London, is the favourite to win, with a YouGov poll for the Times showing he is the first choice of 53% of eligible voters. Now, he is my choice. Now, Jeremy Corbyn is an MP. I don't think I've ever seen him in a leadership battle before, but he's kind of like Bernie Sanders. He's principled. His politics is rooted deeply within that tradition, socialist tradition of Labour. He's very old school. He joined in the 60s and 50s, and has kind of not really changed, or maybe he has changed a little bit. I don't know, but he represents the left-wing portion, while the rest of them are varying degrees. Most of them are right, or in the centre. So on the right we have, I have to remember, a woman called Kendall, I forgot her first name. We've got Andy Burnham, who's on the right, those two on the right, and then we've got a few in the centre and I forgot their names. And the right wing of the party is the ones who have been most dominant. If anyone had remembered who Ed Miliband is, he was part of that, although for some reason people used to call him like the most left-wing Labour leader since blah 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 blah, but he wasn't. He was barely more left-wing than, Tony Blair and Gordon Brown, but we can't get into specifics. So Jeremy Corbyn is for the Yanks and for the foreigners out there. Basically, he is like our Bernie Sanders, but he's not considered as cool. And in fact, as the article mentions, there has been a concern for so-called entryism, in which people from other parties register in order to elect Mr Corbyn, either because they are right-wing and think he's unelectable, or because they are left-wing and want him to win. Now, many of you have been saying, well, you keep talking about a right wing in Labour. Now, bear in mind, I'm talking about the Labour Party. In every party, there's a left wing and a right wing, just as the Labour is left of the Conservatives and so on, so on. So basically, these are proper right wingers from the Tory Party coming in to try and elect Mr Corbyn so they can affect the general election in 5 years' time. This is what entryism is, but this is a bullshit reason. Most of them probably won't vote. Most of it's kind of a joke, I'd say. And like I said, they've banned 1,200 people. It's not just Mark Steele. And among the right wingers, it says, who have been barred are the Conservative MP Tim Loughton and Toby Young, the journalist and author of How to Lose Friends and Alienate People. Steele said that he was outraged to have been barred. The cheek of it. Is Tony Blair allowed to vote? He invaded Iraq on completely bogus set of principles. Is that Labour values? He said, I applied as a supporter about 3 weeks ago, then I started getting all the emails that people get from Yvette Cooper and people like that thanking me. Then I just suddenly get this, and there's nothing I can do about it. He said the rejection notice did not explain specifically why he had been barred from voting. Does it sound familiar, people? Does it sound familiar? People being banned in subreddits, being banned on internet forums for speaking their minds, and then getting banned, and then their response from the moderators is, well, it's not satisfactory. You don't know why you've been banned, but you can pretty much guess why you've been banned, because you think the wrong way, you talk the wrong way, and you do not represent whatever this value is. And this is the right wing trying to flex their muscles, trying to stop anyone from getting Corbyn, because they have this belief that he is unelectable, that because what happened 20 years, 30 years ago now, in the past, when Thatcher won the 1983 election against a very, very left-wing Labour government, they thought, well, we can't go to the left anymore because we won't be elected. Yet Labour went too far to the right in the last election and lost that election. So how can we say that going to the left, let alone going too far to the left, will be unelectable, when basically going to the right cost them nearly the whole of Scotland and cost them the election? Scotland is a very important part of Labour's voting history and who votes for them, and they voted SNP. Not many of them are for independence. 55% are against it, by the way, for you nationalists, and 45% are for it. They voted because they were sick of Labour abandoning their principles and their values. So if these are Labour's values, you know, destroying democracy because they're fearful of what people will vote for, that's just incredible. And this is what happens when the social justice mindset, and Sargon alluded to this in his Why the Conservatives Are Your Enemy video, which is why Labour lost, because they've become social justice. They've been tainted by the ideology. So let's continue and finish off this article. It's a standard thing that clearly goes out to everyone. It says there are two reasons for rejection. One is that you don't support the ideals and values of the Labour Party, or you are a member of a rival organisation, Steele said. I can't think of what that can be, unless it's Crystal Palace Football Club or my local snooker club in Croydon. Maybe my snooker club is fielding candidates, and that's a football/soccer thing for you guys. That's a reference. He's basically saying that he does not represent what the Labour Party is now. I mean, you know, this is the party wondering why they lost so many working class voters and Scotland, and yet they're trying to bar people from voting the one person who could bring those voters back. Incredible, isn't it? And it just reminds me of what I've been seeing on the internet, but on a governmental scale. And to finish the article off, it's because they've looked at it and gone, just no. I think it has gone to the local party to look at applications to see if they can find anyone that's considered suspicious. I suppose that someone in the Labour Party locally has gone, not him. And there you have it. Social justice in the real world. The right wing of the Labour Party is scared that they will not win another election. They're scared that the left wing is becoming more powerful because, you know, apparently 30 years ago is now a barometer to how you win elections. And I just thought I'd share you this article because it reminds me of what we've been facing with Gamergate, you know. Neutrals who are talking to AGs be accused of being Gamergate supporters just by, you know, criticising both sides. Well, saying, oh, well, we can't have you here because you're not part of us, you're part of them, you've got to be, you're not criticising them, you know? And anyway, I thought I'd just share this quick thing. This has been ChowMan93. Like and share the video, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you later.